Hi, everyone. Welcome to our new episode of a virtual USG Alumni Talks. My name is Dania. I work at the American Center Tashkent, and we continue celebrating Earth Day. And it's my pleasure today to introduce our speaker, Anna Ten. Anna Ten is an ornithologist from the Institute of Zoology. She works with surveys of birds and their conservation. In 2011, she participated in the IVLP program on nature parks and ecotourism. Since then, Anna conducted several alumni projects on citizen science, birdwatching, and conservation. There are five alumni leaders and scientists in their team. The project's Birds.uz's main idea is to attract people away from science to nature conservation. And today she's going to talk about it to us. Hello, Anna, and thank you so much for being here with us today.
Hello, Dania. Hello, everyone. Um, nice to meet you here. And I am working with birds and their survey. And birds is the main example on which I try to talk about citizen science and nature conservation. As presentation consists of different parts, so you can ask questions anytime you want.
Thank you. We're so ready to learn more about your projects.
Thank you. In general, the conservation of threatened species can be divided into several main parts. First is survey or science, on the basis of which the need of species conservation could be confirmed. After this, government or conservation agencies joins in. It could be different government agencies, for example, like Academy of Science. They give scientific official approval. The State Committee for Ecology and Nature Protection, which is main state agency with the protected tools, and it has necessary laws, inspection, and power. They include these two agencies include the species in different lists. For example, it could be Red Book of Uzbekistan or exclude species from hunting list. Uh, and last important for me part is community. Um, the active community, ecological active community, could be very important part of real species conservation. And the conservation of forests or parks could be close for you to understand what is it, or citizens science. I hope that we will talk about this later. And only all these three parts uh, um, can make the mission of species conservation works. So we will come back later to this slide. Uh, Next slide, please. I want to start from different several projects which I'm happy to join in. So here I'm presenting you our survey of fantastic species great bustard. This bird has very sad history in Uzbekistan, and most part of this information was received from our work with project of Uzbekistan Society for the Protection of Birds. The name of this project is Wintering Grounds of Great Bustard in Uzbekistan and Threats. So we can see here on the slide that Uzbekistan lost breeding grounds of the species at all. On migration, we have just single species, single records of this bird, and wintering grounds many years were totally forgotten, and right now we understand that we have fragmentary wintering grounds. So, next slide, please. Uh, our first finding of the species was in 2019. We found aggregation of 96 males. You can see on the slide our first picture of this bird, and this is fantastic number. And from that year, we start to develop the survey of the species and the wintering grounds, finding of wintering grounds. Can you give me the next slide? in during 2 years, in 2019 to 2020 and winter 2020 to 2021, we tried to cover as much as possible territories with suitable habitats for the species. And you can see the yellow and red polygons, and we found one of very critical site is it's located in Jazakh region, and this is it has red polygons. Next slide. In You can see here the number of the species, um, and at the final in 2021 we found the aggregation of more than 488 birds, and this is for Uzbekistan, when we thought that this species is on the edge of extinction in our country. And when we found such aggregation, like close to 500 birds, we understand that we need as much as possible to protect the species and try to collect all threatened during our survey. Next slide. Um, the first threat was poaching. Um, uh, we heard about poaching many times from local hunters, from inspectors, from many other people, and many of them said us that hunters, poachers come just for hunting the species. And the problem, you will ask, why inspection do nothing? But the problem is that inspection has little human and other resource to prevent poaching. The important point is the understanding of hunters that the bastard is protected by law, and from other side they assure in impunity. So on this slide with the car, you can see the hunters which who just said us that they came for hunting of great bastards here. It was incredibly uh, very upset news for us to understand how huge is poaching of the species. Next slide, the power lines. Power lines, we found the birds. Yeah, okay, sorry. We found the great bastard killed by under power line. So the development of infrastructure, of electrical infrastructure, could be also very great threat for the species. Um, if you have questions, we can discuss about this right now. But I want to add more that for us, the main threat to on the species is poaching. So we uh, found that the talk with local people, the talk with the hunters, and um, help inspectors to just to find the species for their protection is very uh, wide point. So scientists, they we should do all our best not only to do a survey of the species and to understand that this species is uh, needs in necessary protection, but right now uh, without community it's very hard to do. Okay, next slide. The next species is Egyptian vulture. I'm presenting you our last year work on survey of this bird in frame of our initiative group, and we call us Central Asian vultures. And my colleagues, Dr. Dobrev Burnside, uh, Dr. Robert Burnside, Vladimir Dobrev, and Valentin Soldatov, our plan was tagged with transmitters several Egyptian vultures to discover their migration and wintering sites. This work, as same others, take many efforts for on joining different organizations together. So you can see here about 5 different organizations which were done together to make this project uh, reliable last year. Next slide. Egyptian vulture. Egyptian vulture is very rare bird, and about 50 years ago it disappeared in huge area in India and in Europe, and after that the discovery and protection of this bird become very strong, and we have a lot of many information, many survey on their routes and their threats on migration and wintering areas on huge area on Europe and in Africa, but nothing, you can see here the question, nothing about Central Asia and India. So this is very also wide point for researchers. Next slide. What happened in Uzbekistan? In Uzbekistan, Egyptian vulture uh, has decreasing number. Right now, it's estimated in 135 breeding pairs, and you can see here that we don't know nothing about migration routes. We don't know nothing about wintering countries. The threats are unquantified, and population trend is probably declining. We can see in some parts the number of birds is okay, but in other parts they just disappeared and we don't know why. Next slide. Oh, it's not working, sorry. One of the most effective methods to receive qualitative data on migration is satellite tracking. What is it? This is transmitter that based on with the solar battery, and it send us several times a day the GPS data, exact location data on bird location, and we receive them with the help of GSM network. So this is modern, very popular among ornithologists tool, and I don't know why, but I couldn't show you the video how we track our chick. Next slide, please. But it's very upset. Um, so what we do last year uh, we received information about nest of Egyptian vultures and received this data from our local colleagues, Maria Gritsina, Timur Abduraupov, Елена Bykova, Roman Kashkarov, and others. Many people help us with information about nest location. And 3 juvenile birds were tagged in nest in the end of July last year. You can see how difficult could be to receive the birds in the nest, but it's also very interesting point. Next slide. You can see here our chicks, and we gave them names Anya, Aris, and Timur. So from 3 different nests, we could tag 3 birds, and they are our heroes right now. Next slide, please. Uh, Sorry, it's not working. Yeah,
Anna, excuse
we
me,
received interesting roles.
you still can share the link, so we will try to get it on the screen.
Cash. It's is it? Do you see the map? Can you see
The
the
what?
map? The map.
Map?
It's not
I don't
working on my slide.
uh,
I don't know why.
I don't see the map, unfortunately.
Okay, so I could say shortly that everything is okay with these chicks, and right now two of them we still winter in India, and one bird moved to Iran, and after that goes to Saudi Arabia, and right now it's located in Yemen. So as this bird is young, they could take rest for 3 years and fly as they want. So we are still uh, continue to monitor their location, and we are working with our colleagues from Yemen, from Bulgaria, from India, and from Pakistan for their monitoring. Next slide. Uh, why I'm saying here about the species. So it looks like very maybe not interesting, and but for me, the um, actually it's very difficult to estimate the population of species in one country as like a huge country as Uzbekistan, and the to find the nest uh, sometimes we spend several days, and to count all birds on the whole country it looks like incredibly very difficult, very expensive project, and sometimes government couldn't support this, but we have right now idea. In August 2021, we counted about 120 birds on one dump. You can see on the picture the dump site, and this bird, the number of this bird is actually 32% of estimated population in Uzbekistan. And right now we have idea that we really can try to do the estimation with the help of birdwatcher network, and because it's not so difficult to find the dump sites, and if we have enough people to join us, we can do the counting together for one time, and we could really receive data, available data for to count the our population. So this is why I'm so bored, maybe sad about this species. Sorry for this. Uh, okay, next slide. Um, what is citizen science? Citizen science is the concept conducting scientific research with the involvement of a wide range of volunteers, many of whom may be amateurs, that is, without previous scientific education and specialty training. Citizen science is often associated with long-term programs for public environmental monitoring of the rational use of natural resources. So it's the as a tool. It could be used in many other necessary for us, for people, fields of the science. So on this slide you can see my colleague Maxim Koshkin. He is from Kazakhstan. And in the beginning of 2000s, be student of English philology, he could start huge and important project on conservation of critical rare vader. This is very interesting bird, sociable lapwing. And their team could not only start but also find critical threats for the species. And you will be very surprising, but this project is working till now. And after 10 years of working as volunteer and later as manager of project, Maxim decided to receive biological education. Right now he had PhD on ornithology and biology. Uh, my opinion is the more educated people we have, this is the capacity building for future citizen science, the more effective will be government, nature protected, and science work. So if you are interested in someone, don't never think that you have no education. So you can try and maybe find yourself. Next slide. Um, Here I want to say to present, I'm happy to present our work, Birds.us. It was created in 2014 by our friends Alexandra Higa and Dinara Adilova. These girls joins together many friends, and now we have dream team. The amazing team of Bird.us consists of 5 alumni: Rustam Murdakhanov, Maria Gritsina, Dinara Adilova, Yuri Moon, and me, and many other local experts on birds, and not only birds, and foreigners. Many our friends all over the world help us. If you're interested, you can join to our Telegram group. You can see on the slide, um, and also we have Instagram. The main idea of website is attract and learn birds of any interested person and grow birdwatchers in our country, the number of birdwatchers in our country. Next slide. What we have right now. Right now we have on 20 more than 20,000 records of 386 birds. This is amazing for uh, our region. And during 7 years, we could create the unique database, open database, so everyone can join and receive information on bird location and any bird what we have in our database, and receive information. And as our data is based on crowdsourcing rules of open use, the birdwatcher data. So birdwatchers add this information freely, just for to help scientists, to help any other people to understand the location of rare birds or location of some uh, numerous species in our country. The materials from our site were already used in several projects of Institute of Zoology. So right now we can say that many scientists, many our Uzbek scientists use this database if they need information on birds. Thank you. Next slide. And what is interesting is that also the more eyes we have, the more new species we found. The number of new species is amazing. So last year we found the breeding greater hoopylark, the observer Timur Abduraupov. Next slide. Our friends shared with us information about woodchat shrike, Yuri Bakur. Next slide. Black drongo. This is Indian species, and it was found in Surkhandarya near Termes by Timur Abduraupov. Next slide. We were on one very easy bird watcher trip, and could find the Rupel's warbler from Mediterranean Sea. Next slide. Also, you can see here all our Birds.us team, and we all together observe the new species eyebrow thrush. So for me, it's one of the very important new species. Next slide. You remember the shutdown from coronavirus, and here you can see the dusky thrush that Timur observed from his window, from his flat, when everything was closed. So just you need to be open to find new species. Next slide. Okay, I am finishing my presentation. Thank you for your attention, and I hope that I maybe not so simple, but not simple way, but I try to show you the connection between science and the community, and that citizen science is has uh, very good capacity building in for Uzbekistan. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anna. The question is about the citizen science. Why is it important for us, for human being?
Uh, Citizen science, it means that we have active community, that we have active people who uh, care about not only nature, about many other sphere of our interest. And you can understand that actually it's true that we have not many scientists to cover all fields of our interest. We have not many uh, inspection to protect um, the species as we want. So we need also people who can help with the protection, or they can help with the monitoring. Sometimes I have example, my very old lady from Moscow, she observed the nest of rare bird from Africa and monitor the nesting every day,
Mhm,
8 hours per day. So this is amazing thing that every one of us can do, and sometimes it's not need necessary uh, skills or all what we want is just reach to help to understand
mhm,
how it's works or to join in some surveys like with the
mhm.
Egyptian volunteers.
I see. So you have volunteers, right?
Uh, yes,
Anyone
of
can
course. This is
contribute.
why we are working with the Bird Status Pointers project, because we want to raise the number of bird watchers, and sometimes many of them interest not only about birds but about plants, about reptiles and or insects. So this is just like a beginning.
So does it happen every like throughout a year, or there is special season for bird watching?
Um, no, you can watch the birds anytime you want, any your free time, just to
Mhm,
go out and walk around your house. But in um, in our site, we are playing in game. This is big year game, so we are fighting with each other to be best bird watcher
Well,
and
you
try to
compete.
collect data about all species that we can catch by photo. So
Nice. So is there a place where we can see some unique birds in Uzbekistan?
sometimes we just need luck, because I said one of the last slide was with the dusky thrush, and I said that Timur just observed the species from his window when we have lockdown from coronavirus during
Mm,
coronavirus, and yeah, actually, of course, if you want to see more birds, you need to go a little bit far from settlements. But actually, this is not necessary because we are developing also the bird watching in parks and
mhm,
in some close places uh, in Tashkent. So I shared with you the website, and you can join the Telegram group and
mhm,
also uh, contact with our Birdwatchers group also.
mhm. I'm just
Yeah,
trying to find it.
yeah,
Okay. Here.
yeah, this is here.
Okay. So, what kind of challenges you face while you work on your projects, and if is there any fun facts about your job you do? You're also welcome to share with us.
Um, Sometimes I'm working with the birds because it's interesting, but I'm connecting with different people, not only scientists, but also uh, we have friend. He is local shepherd, and we are friends with his family maybe already 3 years because he was the first person who showed us the great bustard. And right now we contact during whole year and speaking with each other, and he so we when you are interested in some field, it's doesn't care about the object. Sometimes it's people who come to you, or uh, to to whom you should come, and uh, you just talking with the people, because for me it's maybe not so easy to talk with people, but I have to. You can see that during the Great Buster Tour, we understand that we need to work with the local, very, very in many fields. So sometimes it's bring more communication. You need more to be more communicated person than you expect. So for me, the fun facts is that sometimes we are working more with the people than with the birds, and
I see.
yeah, but this is also very great.
Oh, that's nice to hear. Thanks.
Yeah,
So you mentioned about the IVLP program in your biography. It says that the program was focused on ecotourism and nature parks. So
yeah.
have you been to the U.S. national parks? Can you tell us more about it?
We visited, I think, about 20 different parks with the different status, from the federal to some kind of local or private parks, and it was during 20 days. So we have enough time uh, to not only to understand how different could be the work with the nature protected areas, not only different ways how it could be protected on private line or on government line. So, and it's so very surprised us, and I think that I grow on understanding how it works, because after that I worked 5 years in our nature protected area in
Mhm.
ecocenter Gerat, and yeah, in Bukhara region. So I spent up to IVLP program many years in such area also. So
Okay, that's
yeah,
great.
it helps me very, very much.
Thank you. That was the last question, and time is over for our program. And that's full. Thank you so much for this interesting and remarkable presentation. We learned a lot about bird watching and other projects you do on citizen science. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. We wish you all the best and more interesting things that happen while you do a great job and
Yeah,
more
thank
volunteers.
you for inviting me as speaker, and this is not what I do every day. So sorry for some moments, but I'm happy all the time to share the information that we have, and maybe some ideas what we have in our uh, plans for future. Thank you for
Thank you.
IVLP.
We would be glad to have you as
Yeah,
speaker in the future.
yeah.
Bye. Thanks everyone who watched us today. I'll see you at our next Alumni Talks. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you.